It is January 1st, 2023, the beginning not just of a new month, but a new year. So it's time for another monthly update video in which I'll talk about what I did in December, what went on, what you might have missed, and what we've got coming up in January. I will also be doing a end of the year wrap up video, sort of a review of everything from 2022, but this is not that. I will be doing that as a separate video in the next few days. I always like to begin by highlighting three big things. So with no further ado, here they are. Big thing number one, you may have seen the announcement in social media after serving for 6 and close to 3/4 years as editor of Stoicism Today. I have stepped down from that position, and my assistant editor and good friend and colleague, Harold Kavli, has taken over as editor, and he's going to be ably assisted by the new assistant editor, Judy Stove. So I'm really, quite happy about that. That's going to give me a little bit more time to work on other things. Big thing number two, Worlds of Speculative Fiction is going into yet another year. And we did our usual soliciting suggestions and then doing a vote. And so we have the entire lineup available for 2023. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. A lot of cool authors and series coming up in that. Finally, big thing number three, I am going to be bringing out a course on Descartes' Meditations on First Philosophy, a course that will involve class sessions with me, and it should be, quite good. This is a text I've been reading and studying for about close to 30 years now at this point. And I've got a lot to say about it, and I think it's a really important piece of philosophy. So those are the three big things. Let's now talk about what went on the other side of the beginning of the year. All right, so December 2022, pretty busy month in many respects. Had a lot of online events, my usual AMA, Ask Me Anything. We did Worlds of Speculative Fiction, beginning Dan Simmons' Hyperion Cantos. I quickly realized as I began reading that massive set of 4 volumes that we were only going to be able to do 2 of them, so that's what we concentrated on, Hyperion and the Fall of Hyperion. Of course, we did our usual philosophy chat and Hegel sessions and all of that stuff. And, December is always a busy time in part because we're finishing up with academic courses. And last semester, I taught one course for Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, which finished up in early December. And then 3 courses for Marquette University. All of those were face-to-face, and Marquette finishes up kind of late. So, I think the last day of class might have been the 16th or so, but, it wasn't until about the 20th or 21st that I actually had all of the final grades in. And we also finished up a class on Plato's Dialogues with Lighthall, where I've been, working with the platform I've been hosting classes on. Now, they've changed their orientation, so we're not going to be doing classes on their platform anymore, unfortunately. They're doing workforce development, but this is where the Descartes class that I was telling you about comes in. It'll be hosted in the Study with Sadler Academy. So we finished up the Lighthall stuff, and now we're moving on to doing these as on our own. A lot of video work that I did. I actually got some progress made on the half-hour Hegel series. I didn't get to the very end of the religion section, but I got pretty close. 3 videos released to my half-hour Hegel Patreon supporters that you'll be seeing this month, unless you're already a supporter, as I release them to the public. I also did a whole sequence of additional videos on a text that I had done before, David Hume's Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding. There were a lot of videos that I'd meant to get to. It's a text that I pretty routinely teach, and I just hadn't got to them yet, so I started working on those. And similarly with Pascal's Pensées, I had projected a whole series of videos on that work, got some done years ago, and then resumed work on it this last month. I also did a few quick takes videos on topics that I thought were important. I'll probably be doing some writing about those topics in the near future. A couple Sadler's stories, including one about what Christmas used to be like in the Lemrise family. That's my mother's side of the family, French-Canadian, although, living in America and bringing spouses down from Quebec for several generations. What else? We had a Wisdom for Life show, and that's episode 61. You might find interesting, about taking downtime. Evil Sadler made an appearance. Nobody should listen to him. Let me remind everybody. I also finally finished up, did a lot of getting things tidied up and finished up this time. When I did the Ursula K. Le Guin Earthsea class, I did about, 80, 90 videos, and I didn't get to 4 of them that I'd intended to do on her story Dragonfly, which is quite important. It's found in Tales of Earthsea, or Tales from Earthsea. And so I got those done as well. And then I did one book review on Tim Iverson's Calm and Curious, which is about Stoicism and education. What else? We had our podcast stuff. I was working through a lot of Cicero's On Duties and published all of those. And then we held a vote early on in the month, if I remember. And people really wanted more Aristotle, so I did some Aristotle podcast stuff as well on book 3, which has to do with responsibility and, our different faculties. And, I also produced some other podcasts for which I've early released to Patreon supporters. And I'll talk more about that in the January time because you'll be seeing those fairly shortly. So it was a good month all told. Had a pretty low-key Christmas, pretty low-key New Year's, just kind of stayed home and had some good food and, enjoyed ourselves. It's kind of somber because, all the pets are gone now. But I'll talk more about that, I think, in the year wrap-up review video that I'll do either tomorrow or in the next few days. So we have a lot of stuff coming up in January that you might want to put on your calendar, and much of this is online, so it's pretty easy for people to participate in it. You do want to make sure that as I'm announcing the times, you translate them into your own time zone. I'm in the central time zone, and wherever you happen to be, it's probably not central unless you're here in the Midwest or in the Mid-South or something like that. So on the 7th, which is a Saturday coming up, we'll have at noon Central Time, we'll have our first AMA, that's Ask Me Anything session of the year. You probably want to get your questions in pretty early, although not too early because YouTube tends to scrub them if somebody puts them a day or so in advance. But we get so many questions that it's hard to answer all of them. Then following that at 2 p.m., I have my philosophy chat with Patreon supporters, a little bit more intimate, not quite one-on-one, but certainly smaller setting where they get to video conference with me. On the 12th at 5 p.m., which is a Thursday, we're switching up the days for this from Wednesdays to Thursdays. We'll have our public Hegel Q&A and discussion session. Everybody's invited to that. It's underwritten by the Patreon supporters of the Half Hour Hegel Project. On the 14th, which is a Saturday at noon, we'll have our two-part Worlds of Speculative Fiction, session 66, which will be picking back up Dan Simmons' Hyperion Cantos, this time with the last two books in the series, Endymion and Rise of Endymion. Those are really quite excellent, and I hope you can join me for that. We begin with a video premiere where I'm talking and people can live chat with me as the video is premiering. And then we switch to a Zoom session where we can do some more conversation and chat about the books and other topics as well. On the 18th, if you're here in the greater Milwaukee area, we have a face-to-face in-person event. Dare the Possible. I have been invited to be one of the main speakers at that. It is hosted at the, I think I'm going to mangle this name, Kanarkik Center. You can find out about this, in my Facebook events and also in the Reason.io events calendar if you want to find out details about that. And I'll be presenting in a format that I haven't done previously, so it should be kind of interesting. It's these slides. I forget exactly what it's called. Doesn't matter the name, of course. It's the format that matters. You have a lot of slides, and you go through them pretty quickly, and you talk fairly quickly and convey some information and maybe provoke some thought. So we'll see how that works. On the 21st at noon, I am going to resume the Self-Directed Study in Philosophy series with a video premiere on how to do self-directed study of René Descartes' works. Somebody who I think really deserves it. Definitely somebody you shouldn't pass over in your studies of philosophy. On the 25th, we will actually have our first session at 10 a.m. Central Time of that online René Descartes course. There will be 6 sessions, each of them 90 minutes long. There is a tuition fee for that, but it's pretty affordable for most people. We'll be doing that using Zoom, and there'll be nice resources there for people. You'll see some announcements about that in the coming week or so. On the 27th, another face-to-face in-person thing here. It's kind of a private event, but people in the area, if they really, really want to go, I think they can find arrangements for it. I've been invited to start giving monthly talks, called Philosophy Eats, something that we've done in the past. This time we're doing it with the Women's Club of Milwaukee. So there's a meal, there's me talking about something. In this case, it'll be about New Year's resolutions and what to do after you've already broken them and how to rethink that, a topic that I come back to year after year. So that'll be another in-person event. And then we have another online event the following day, the 28th at 9 a.m., the Animal Care and Stoicism Roundtable, which is being hosted by Stoic Care. I'll be part of that, as will my wife and partner, Andy Shaka. And our third person will be Catherine Koromillis, who some of you may know from various things having to do with Stoicism and Stoic Care. So that should be a fun event as well. We're going to talk about, what Stoicism has to contribute in thinking about animals, pets, rationality, empathy, all these important matters. Videos. So I will be producing a lot of new videos, hopefully over this month. Core concept videos. I got a lot more Pascal stuff to put out. And then I've got another thing that some people might find kind of cool. So I'm going to be teaching a class on philosophy as a way of life, and we will be discussing the Cynics. Now, the Cynic epistles, scholars don't think those are actually written by the people that they're attributed to, which include Diogenes and Crates, Heraclitus, Anacharsis, various texts of Socrates and the Socratics. But these are actually quite valuable for understanding, what Cynic philosophy is about. and some of the practices that are involved with it. So I'm going to be doing some core concept videos on some selected ideas and issues coming up in that. I also have a number of, we could call them like little orphaned core concept videos where I meant to do like a whole sequence on this person and never got to one of them. I've got like, one on Dostoevsky and one on Descartes. These are all thumbnails that are sitting on my desktop. I'm going to try to get through as many of those as I can as well. And some people may find this very interesting. I'm going to be doing a speculative fiction studies video, or set of videos rather, on Tolkien's essay on fairy stories. So I think, there's a lot of Tolkien fans out there. They might find that kind of interesting. Also be doing some more, personal videos, some Sadler stories, some quick takes. Evil Sadler might pop out again. You never know when he's going to show up. Maybe some other things. There's been some other videos I've been meaning to get to for a long time. And then, we're going to finish up Hegel's religion section. I've just got one more paragraph yet to go, and then we're into absolute knowing, and we're getting close to the end of the half-hour Hegel project. I should mention that this coming semester, I'm going to be teaching academic classes and then non-academic personal enrichment, not-for-credit classes. The academic classes that I'm teaching this semester, just at Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, I am teaching one face-to-face class for freshmen called Introduction to Humanities, in which we do some stuff on Sophocles' Antigone and Marjan Satrapi's Persepolis. I have to pick a third text, so I'm picking Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and I'll be doing some videos on those things as well, the Frankenstein and Sophocles, and perhaps even some other authors who I bring in to help illuminate these for my students. And then there's that philosophy, mindfulness, and life, which is really a philosophy as a way of life, focused in particular on hedonism, utilitarianism and effective altruism, cynicism and minimalism, stoicism, and then a few other things as well. So there'll probably be quite a few videos coming out related to that, and quite a few writings as well over the course of this semester. The last thing I should mention, podcasts. So we're just finishing up with the Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics, Book 3 stuff. After that, it's some stuff from Lucretius's on the Nature of Things, Book 4. And then we'll have some John Chrysostom from some of his sermons that I did core concept videos on last semester for my classes on anger. And then Plutarch's on anger, on controlling anger as well. And then, we'll see what we do after that. I've got a lot of different ways we could go. There's a lot of different podcast stuff that needs to be done. And, we'll see how much energy I have for all of this stuff coming up. So I hope you can join me on some of these online events. If you're here in the Milwaukee area, I'd love to see you at some of these other events. If you, run into me, say hi. And, I hope you have a great new year ahead, and that it's everybody stays safe and healthy and intellectually engaged, and that things work out well for all of you. And I'll see you next time.